Okay, so I know a couple people who just got an Instant Pot, so I thought I would do a quick little video kind of going over some things. So once you're plugged in, you know, your screen will light up. Usually I would use this pressure cook button, and some recipes that'll say call for manual, and that is the same as pressure cook, it's just a different model. So if your recipe calls for manual mode, just use pressure cook. Yeah, so that's the one I use most of the time, no matter what I'm making. But as you can see, there's all these other options. And then one of the first things you want to do with your Instant Pot to make sure that everything is working properly, you'll do what they call a water test. So what you want to do, well, you want to make sure, of course, you have this pot in here. You do not want to do anything without that pot in there. So yeah, make sure you have that pot in. Pour in a couple cups of water. So with the Instant Pot, it is a pressure cooker, so you always have to have some kind of moisture in there. So most recipes, if you're, you know, not making a soup, or you have to have some kind of liquid. So whether it's water, broth, or even if you're cooking frozen chicken, you know, if you throw those in there, it'll let off a lot of moisture as well. But so you also want to make sure that you have this ring in place. So the pot comes with a clear one, and I bought a couple more just because they tend to absorb smell. And if you're making, you know, like a sweet dish versus a savory dish, you might not want that smell or that flavor kind of lingering in your food. So you want to make sure your ring is in place. And you can see it just kind of like clips in there. So make sure it's perfectly in place all the way around. You can pop it out and back in. So to do the water test, you want to put your lid on. Apparently I can't do this with one hand. Hold on. Sometimes my lid does not want to go on. There we go. Okay. So you want to make sure your lid's on. And over here you have venting and sealing. So for pressure cooking, focus, come on. For pressure cooking, you want it to be sealed. So you're going to move it to the sealing position. And when it comes to pressure, this pin will be up. So that's how you know it's pressurized. And you don't want to ever open this lid if that pin is up. Okay. So, for our water test, you have your water in there. So you're gonna, once you make sure you're closed, sealed, you hit pressure cook. And you can, as you can see, you can adjust the time. Up or down. You can adjust the pressure level, low pressure, high pressure. Usually it's just going to be on high pressure, so we'll do like, I don't know, 2 minutes, because... Alright, so once you set your time and whatnot, you just kind of let it go and you wait for it to come to pressure. It'll say on, and that's when you know the pressure will start building. And then as it comes to pressure, it's common that some steam will come out of here, so don't freak out. I did, like, the first couple times I thought I was doing it wrong, but it is common for a little steam to come out the top. And obviously though, if it's coming out like a lot, like especially over here, then you might not be sealed correctly. But a little bit to come out of where the pin is normal. And then once it's at pressure, you see on this screen, it'll start the timer. So we'll just check back in a couple minutes once that's at pressure, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so you can kind of see a little bit of steam coming out of there. And you can hear it making a noise. Sometimes you might have to adjust this a little bit. There we go. Because you don't want too much coming out of this vent. So it shouldn't if you put it in the right place, but sometimes I don't know, sometimes I don't do it right. Okay, well, you can see your pin is up higher than it was before, so that means it is pressurizing. And I don't know if you can hear that noise, kind of like sizzling. It's the pressure building. This is like messy up here, I apologize. Okay, so now you can see your timer started. Sometimes I have to adjust that with my oven mitt. Alright. So you want to be careful because this gets real hot up here. So you can see the timer has started now. And that'll count down. And then once it's at 0, it'll beep, and then you can release the pressure 2 different ways. You can either let it go release by itself, or you'll do a quick release, which I will show you once that counts down. Okay, so you can hear the beeping. It's kind of loud. So this will start counting up now to tell you how long that it's been sitting here since it's been done cooking. So this is like, it's been left how many minutes. And then if you have this function on, keep warm, then it'll keep it warm, obviously. And yeah, that'll tell you how long it's been sitting here. So some recipes, for instance, like hard-boiled eggs, you'll cook for 5 and then leave it for 5 and then do your pressure release. So every recipe calls for something different, so that's why that is like that. So you can see now it's been left here for a minute. So you can either, if you leave it like this, then eventually the pressure will release on its own and that pin will drop back down. But if you don't want to wait for that to happen, or recipes will often call for a quick release, then you'll want to cancel and then release the pressure from the valve, which is a little bit loud as well, and my cats do not like it. So you want to be careful though, because the pressure or the steam that comes out is going to be hot. So you can either use a towel or a mitt or like a wooden spoon. I'm just going to move my cat because she's on the table and I don't want her to freak out and break things. Okay. So you're just going to want to move it. You can see your steam coming out. It's not always that liquidy, but I just had water in there, so some people like to throw a towel over it to kind of keep it contained. I don't really care if it hits my window, so think of that. Pressure release. And then you're going to want to wait till that pink pin drops back down. So I'll show you that. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. See, the steam is slowing. And there you go. The pin has dropped. And now you know it is safe to open your lid. So you can see open, close. And it's going to be pretty steamy and hot still. And life hack, you can set your lid in that handle. So yeah, that's the water test, just to familiarize yourself with your Instant Pot and to make sure everything's working properly. It does get really, really hot in there, so just be aware. And yeah, that's basically what you want to do first, just to make sure that everything is working. I'll probably do maybe a couple other videos at some point with some recipes, just for fun, because it's easier to see on a video than to follow like written instructions. So there you go. Good luck.